channel. It's your girl Anna Cache. I am 19 years old, a content creator and college student. On this channel we do travel vlogs, daily vlogs, and other fun entertaining things. And if you want to see some more of that, subscribe down below and stay tuned for more content. But anywho, let's get into the video. So in today's video, I just wanted to do a 20 things I learned after turning 20 in my 20 years of living type of thing. I learned a lot of stuff, and I feel like I should drop some of them gems on you so you guys can, like, you know what I know. Alright, so I don't want to take so much of your time up, so let's get right into it. I have it like written down so I didn't forget anything. First things first, the first thing I learned, it's not the first thing I learned, but like it's not in any order, I just wrote it down this way. So the first thing I have written down is nothing lasts forever. Now this applies to jobs, relationships, pain. Nothing lasts forever. And I said that to say, like, obviously there's a great beyond at the end of all of this, and like also in terms of other things, like if you're unhappy with your job, if you're unhappy with your relationship, if you feel like you're in so much pain, just know that's not the end of everything. Like, it doesn't last forever. We get these little small moments of happiness here or there. We get these breaks, and when you do get those breaks, you run with it. Just know that nothing lasts forever. Like, everything is temporary, and I don't really know how else to explain that, but like, yeah. Basically that is one of the first things that I wrote down, and one of the things that I learned in my 20 years of experience, because I always thought that everything was so permanent and one mistake was just going to change the way that everything else played out in life. But nothing, I promise you, nothing lasts forever. Another thing that I learned is to stop giving more than you're receiving. Now, I'm a person who is a people pleaser. I'm a reformed people pleaser, so I'm working on it. I'm a person that likes to give gifts, and I just love giving 100% to everything that I do and to all my relationships and friendships. But it is important to stop giving more than you're receiving, because it's like the analogy with the cup, where you can't pour into other people's cup when your cup is empty. You have to give back to yourself, and a lot of people aren't trying to pour into your cup either, because they want their cup to be filled, and in order for their cup to be filled, they need to stop pouring into your cup. So moral is just like try to look out for yourself first. And a lot of times, like, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. I'm a person who's very selfless, but I've learned that, like, I need to be selfish in order to maintain myself, in order to not be taken advantage of. And so it's really important for me to stop wanting to give so much to other people who are not willing to give me even a fraction of that. And it hurts, because it's a reality a lot of times with a lot of relationships that I had, but you know, you learn and you live, and this is why I added it to this video, and it's one of the things that I learned because it happened to me a lot. I got taken advantage a lot, but yeah. So we're not gonna sit and dwell on that, but like, just know, try to prioritize putting yourself first sometimes, and not giving to people more than they would you. Listen to understand, not to respond. Now, I heard this from Sylvia Bell. She's a journalist and a podcaster, and I love her. But yeah, I heard this from her, but I know it's like a older common statement, phrase, whatever. But I realized that I do that a lot. I listen to respond and not just to listen. And I do that because I've always felt like the psychologist in my friend group, the advice giver. Sometimes people don't actually need your advice. They rather you just listen. They just want to listen in ear. They just want somebody to vent to. And a lot of times, even though you feel like you're trying to relate to them, you're trying to, you know, give them some encouragement, some wisdom, whatever, they don't need all that. They just want you to listen. And when you actually just listen and not just listen to respond, you can actually pick up some things for yourself and figure out some things for yourself and what they're saying, or whatever the case may be. But just, you know, that is something that I learned to do and that I'm practicing now in my daily conversations, because I'm a talker. You guys know I talk too much. I talk way too much. So learning to listen and not to respond is really important to me. Take your time. Now, I know you guys see a lot of YouTubers, or whatever the case may be, with social media just in our face all the time. We see people who are 19, 20, 18, you know, becoming millionaires, or becoming entrepreneurs, getting things done, and it makes us feel like, oh my god, I'm on such a slow path, like I'm nowhere near where they are, and I'm never gonna get to that point, and all things like that. But just know you're going at the pace set for you. Like, our life, I'm a big believer in like fate and like destiny, and like what happens to us is basically like supposed to happen at that time, not any time before. Like, sometimes you may think, wow, this person got $1 million, I wish that was me, I deserve $1 million right now. but maybe you're not in a place to accept that $1 million, right? You're not there spiritually, mentally, physically. You're just not in that kind of space and mindset to accept that yet. And that is why you need to go at your own pace, so that everything, when it does come to you, everything will fall into place perfectly. Rushing things usually causes a lot of issues and mistakes to happen. So just take your time, and it's really important. This is a little gem that I learned from my brother, actually. And it is that common sense is not that common. I don't like coming at people, and I don't like people coming at me in a condescending kind of way, like talking to me like I don't understand things or that I'm young or whatever. And I hate doing that to other people, and I feel like sometimes I mistakenly do that, because a lot of times I feel like I'm one of the smarter people in the room. Like, not to be egotistical, not to be narcissistic, I'm just being real. Like, you know, I feel like I work at a different wavelength than a lot of people that I'm around, and maybe that has more to say about me and like the environments that I choose to put myself into than it has anything to say about like other people, whatever. But like, you know, when you realize that you are operating on a different mindset or whatever, and you're talking to people who are not in that same loop as you gotta alter yourself a little bit. It's like code switching. Like, you gotta, you know when to talk that kind of way and who to talk that kind of way with. And what you think is just like basic knowledge, what you think is like a duh moment, it's not like that for everybody else. And then when you grasp that, you can understand like, okay, maybe I shouldn't think like, oh, what I'm trying to say. Just know that everybody's not going to think the way that you do, so just operate with that in mind. I don't know what else to say. Like, it was really hard to formulate that sentence. Another big thing for me that I learned is that when a person shows you who they are, the first time, listen. Now, I don't know how much times or how many times it took me to learn this lesson. I'm still learning this lesson, but y'all, this is like, this is outlandish. Like, I guess I'm a person that really believes in the benefit of the doubt, and that humans are flawed and we make mistakes, and you shouldn't, like, I just look at people like, okay, maybe they're nervous this time, or like, you know, maybe it's not a good day for them, something happened. But like, sometimes for some people, you really just got to look at it for what it is. Take it at face value. Some people are exactly who you think they are. And I have really good discernment, I think. Like, I have a really good gut feeling about people. I'm pretty good at reading the room and reading different people. And even though if I pick up like, okay, she a little like, she has an envious spirit, or like she's entitled. Even if I pick up on things like that, I'll be like, okay, but like maybe it's more than just that to her, you know? And then usually nobody's just like one-dimensional. People are many things. Even if you are entitled, you might be super sweet, or you might be whatever. Sometimes you gotta take things at face value and realize when people show you who they are, that is who they are. And you know, you gotta determine whether or not, like, are those traits, are those characteristics something I'm willing to stick around with? Am I going to be able to deal with this person's entitlement, or their jealousy, their ego, their narcissism? And that could have saved me a lot if I thought about it that way, instead of like giving everybody the benefit of the doubt and seeing people as capable of change, which they are, but it takes a long time for that change to happen, and you're pretty much going off of the idea of potential and not their true form at that moment, in that present moment. It could have saved me a lot in terms of relationships and friendships, things like that. But you know, you live and you learn, and I think I needed to go through those experiences to get to this point, to realize that is something that I had to learn for myself. You can't control what happens. I am a person who believes in failing to plan is planning to fail, and I am literally, if you know me, if you like ask any of my friends or family members, that is a big bird. If you ask any of my friends or family members, I am always planning. I am time blocking. I'm very strategic with all of that. But sometimes, you know, you can't control what happens, and that's okay. That's normal, because although this is our story, why are there so many birds around me? Although this is our story, although we're the main character in our lives or whatever, typically we may be the narrator, but we're not the creator. We're not the author of the story. That's what I'm thinking about. You know, I believe in higher powers. I believe there's more at play to this, what meets the eye or whatever. So you can't control everything that happens, and usually things happen for a reason. So even if something didn't happen the way that you wanted it to happen, it happened because it was supposed to happen that way. And even if it's a setback, it's probably going to be a major comeback. So yeah, but along with that, I also wrote, although you can't control what happens, you can control how you react. Now, a lot of times I've let people get the best of me. I've let my emotions, you know, spill out of me when I could have controlled them and controlled how I react. And it would have saved me so much embarrassment or, you know, time wasted on being angry or holding grudges or whatever the case may be. Controlling how you react is really important because it shows that you're really like a master of your emotions, and no one else can really get you to some type of point, or some, like, no one can bring a character out of you that you don't want to put on display. I hate acting out a character. I hate, you know, people people bringing a person out of me that I don't like to see, like sides of me that I don't really like to put on display. Emotion, like anger or sadness, things like that. And learning how to control how I react is still something I'm learning now and presently, but it's definitely something that I've experienced over my 20 years of life. And I know that it's important to get that under control and to be in control of my emotions, because if you can't get a rise out of me, then you're probably not going to want to, it's not going to be entertaining for you anymore. You're going to lose interest in this game that you play, whatever. But so it's important to really get a control on your emotions and lid on things. So another big thing that I had to learn, that I am still learning, is that not everyone will like you. I don't know. I don't want to pride myself in saying like I'm a likable person, but I think I'm a likable person. I don't understand why people wouldn't like me. But then again, I do have a lot of people in my past that hasn't liked me for no good reason. People will not like you because you wear certain clothes, or because you have a certain accent, or because you talk a certain way, if you're smart, or if whatever the case may be. But for a lot of those reasons are reasons that people didn't particularly like me or that weren't drawn to me initially because of those reasons. And I really just had to come to the conclusion, especially during high school, middle school years, those shaping years, that not everyone is going to like you. And sometimes it might be for bogus reasons, sometimes it's legitimate reasons, but regardless, they're not going to like you. You can't force anybody to like you. You just got to do your own thing, and whoever clicks with you, clicks with you. If they don't like you, they don't like you. You don't got to force somebody to like you. If they don't like you, they're lost, and it probably wasn't meant for you to be their friend, or like for them to be in your life in the first place. Like, it's like, I feel like it's more deeper to that, like scientifically, pheromones and other things, that people don't like certain people for other reasons, and sometimes it's just like surface level, shallow type stuff. But yeah, again, not everybody's gonna like you. If you really want change, you have the power to make that happen. Now, I feel like we are more powerful, we possess more power than we ever know, but a lot of obstacles and things in the way and discourage us to make us believe like, I can't do it. I just physically cannot. But I feel like you can. If you really wanted to make something change, you really have the power to do that. And a lot of people think like, this is out of my control, whatever. There are some things out of control, which we just discussed, but I feel like if you really wanted to, there's a lot of things you can change. If you don't like the way your body looks, go to the gym, change your nutrition. If you don't like your grades, study. If you don't like your job, quit, find another job. And some people are like, oh, well, I don't have the liberty of doing such things like that. You do. It just takes some planning, it takes some faith, and it's possible. So again, if you don't like where you are in life or whatever, you have the power to change things. Another big lesson that I learned is to be present, because life is finite, and living in these moments is incredibly important, because again, tomorrow isn't promised. And okay, what was I going with that? As humans, I feel like more times than not, especially in these modern times, we don't have too many happy days. If you are a person who's always happy and you have happy days every day, that is beautiful. I'm happy for you. But like the majority of us, you know, we have a lot of depressive days, we have a lot of sad days, just days where we just feel nothing, or days that's just going through the motions. So when you have those moments where you're living in the present and you're living in the moment and just really enjoying a dinner with a friend, really enjoying a conversation, just something like that, it really just makes you, it brings everything into perspective. It really fuels you, keeps you going, and it just, I don't know, it's something about those living in the present moments that really just, I don't know, brings everything together. So I just really been trying to be more present and not be drawn to social media or try to watch comfort shows just for a sense of escapism. I really just want to be more present and more intentional with the things that I do and the people that I'm around. So I had to humble myself, y'all. Like, I had to realize I am not invincible. I am very much still flesh and bone. I'm very much human with human emotions. And then another thing is, like, I'm not greater or lesser than anybody. We are all human at the end of the day, and a human life is a human life. No matter if you make more money, if you have more clothes, more jewelry, whatever the case may be, all the materialistic stuff, none of that matters. At the end of the day, you are human. We are all human. Nobody is like, I mean, if you believe in spiritual ethereal beings, things like that, but like, when I look at it, face value, everybody is a human, and a human life is a human life. Soul is a soul. Like, no one is worth more than another person because of any other matter, color, race, materials, whatever. I had to humble myself and really come to that conclusion, like, you're not better than anybody else. Like, yeah, I used to have a little bit of a big head because of materials and things like that, but you gotta come, after you sit down and you really go through the motions and go through life, when it comes down to it, you're not better than nobody else, I promise. We're just humans trying to get by in life, and some people might face more struggles than others, more obstacles, but at the end of the day, again, you need to humble yourself. I really had to learn that lesson the hard way, but yeah. That was important for me to learn in my 20 years of living. I feel like I said this a little bit earlier. I did say this earlier, but everything happens for a reason. This kind of goes hand in hand with the, you know, take your time bit and things like that. Just know that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and I feel like you shouldn't question it. You know, just go with the flow. If things took a dramatic turn, just try to navigate and maneuver with that dramatic turn that it took. And like, it's humans, we evolve, we adapt. And even though things don't happen the way we intend them to happen, again, we are capable of change. We can maneuver through different situations. I mean, I wouldn't say you shouldn't question it, but just know, regardless of what track you're on in life, what path you're on, it's happening because it's supposed to happen. You know, a lot of people think like, this is not supposed to happen to me, not him, whatever. The person passed, if they lost their job, whatever, it was supposed to happen, and it was inevitable. One way or another would have happened, and it's going to set you on a track of the next step in your journey. So that's how I see it, at least. It is important to let go of things that no longer serve you. When I say that, I mean things like, it could be materials, it could be friendships, it could be your split ends. Just let it go, baby. Let it go, because it doesn't serve you no more. Like, it took a while to learn this lesson, because I really, like I said, I'm a person that gives the benefit of the doubt, and I'm a person, I will stick with you through and through, ride or die. But sometimes you just gotta let people go. They're not good for you. They're holding you back. They're pulling you down with them, and not just people, but things and situations, scenarios. Let it go. Like, in holding on and harvesting things, negative emotions, negative people, I think it just sets you back, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. So letting people go is just like, I don't know, it will hurt in the moment, yes, but like, and not just letting people go, letting people go, it will hurt in the moment, but like in the long run, you will feel so much more free, and you will go so much further and probably quicker, or rather on time, than you would have sticking around with these people or these things. So I think I came across this one on like Instagram, but it's, your life isn't yours if you always care about what other people think. I think in a time and an age of digital life and like social media and stuff like that, a lot of times we do things because of trends, we do things because other people are doing them, and just to be aesthetically pleasing on social media. But if you're always living for somebody else, you're never really living for yourself. So if you are always trying to be ahead of the curve, and I gotta have this Louis bag because so and so had that Louis bag, and whatever, I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure, and you're actually making you're digressing, you're making less progress because you're worried about what everybody else thinks and you're not being true to yourself. And I feel like because of that, a lot of people are having identity crisis. Like, people don't know who they are anymore because our personality is based off of a culmination of like YouTubers or our favorite podcasters or other people that we meet and we see. I do think people help mold people, aka this is why people say it takes a village to raise a child, because all of those people come together, create culture and traits and habits and things like that. I get why so many identity crises are happening right now, but again, if you're living for everybody else, you're not living for yourself really, and you're just living to please people or please an algorithm, whatever the case may be, and you're not being true to who you are, and that's just not fair to you. So if you're like me and that is something that you struggle with, then this is something you needed to hear. I also found this one, I think, on Instagram, but alone can be beautiful. I feel like I had such a problem, especially as being a child, going into middle school and stuff, with loneliness and being alone. Yes, I did grow up with siblings, and I'm fortunate for them. I love my siblings, but being the only girl and also being a little, I don't know, I feel like I was socially awkward when I was growing up. I found myself often alone, and I didn't have a lot of friends, or if I did have friends, it was like in those situations where like everybody's circumstances is the same as yours. They can't always go out. They can't always be available to be there for you emotionally, physically, whatever. But I just felt like alone a lot of my life. And I looked at it as such a negative thing for such a long time, and it took me a while to realize alone can be beautiful, because in our loneliness and in our isolation, we can learn a lot about ourselves. And I think it really gives us time to grow and to really become the best version of ourselves, because at the end of the day, you're alone. At the end of the day, like, you are, when everybody's gone, when all the lights go down, whatever, you're by yourself. You made your decisions, whatever. It's you at the end of the day. And I think if you can't find happiness within yourself, you can't truly be happy. So being alone can be beautiful. To accept the situation and move on. This was prevalent. This is definitely prevalent in my first and previous relationship. Like, I really just had to come to the conclusion, like, it's done. It's over. And I need to move on. And that doesn't go just for relationships. It extends beyond that. Accepting the situation and moving on is important, because if we allow ourselves to dwell on something for long enough, we can become obsessive with it, and it can bring us down. It can negatively impact us. We can't move forward if we don't move past certain things. So that's how I look at it. And I know other people come to that conclusion and like a solution differently, but for me, it just takes time, and it takes really sitting down and conversing with yourself and like just understanding what happened, why it happened, and then I think you can more so accept it and then move on. But yeah, that is just how I was able to process it and move on from it. And I'm still learning how to do that for other situations and scenarios and other people and things like that. But you really do gotta accept and move on. If you keep dwelling on it, gossiping about it, it's just bringing more negative energy to it, and it's just building inside of you, and it's just not good for you to keep holding on to things like that. Be nice, but learn to say no. I think I'm a nice enough person. I don't think I'm too mean. I am temperamental, but I don't think I'm mean necessarily. And me being nice allows people what they think is an opportunity to take advantage of me. This is why I had to learn to say no, because again, I'm a reformed people pleaser, and I had such an issue saying no to people because I just felt like, if I can, why not, you know? But if you can all the time, you're just depleting yourself of resources, of time, of effort. And you know, it's important to keep some of that stuff for yourself. I think my video got too long, so I stopped recording. But anyways, 9 times out of 10 people take because we as humans, I think we can be kind of greedy. We can be kind of selfish. As you can see, a lot of situations going on in the world. Everybody can be pretty greedy when it comes to their self. And you know, some people have no problem with asking for whatever it is that they ask for. I have an issue asking for things, but I have no issue with people taking them from me, and that's the problem. So I need to learn to say no more often, and that is something I'm still working on. I'm getting really good at it though. Like, I'm getting better at it. A little too good at it. I don't want to be selfish, but like, sometimes people just, you know, especially in this world we live in, they like to take advantage of people like me, people who are nice, people who give benefits of the doubt. So pay attention to that, and like, look at the people who are around you for not just for the things you have, but for you, and kind of help you determine who's actually there for your clout or your resources or whatever the case, whatever you may have, or who's there to actually just, they love your energy, they love you, they love being around you, whatever the case may be. So yeah. No one talks about how lonely healing can be. Now, when I was healing, I was just like, you know, obviously no one loves me. Like, no one is my friend. No one is here for me, whatever the case may be. And I don't know if it was because I subconsciously isolated myself, or if everybody else was also simultaneously going through something as I was going through something. But like, when you are healing, it can feel so freaking lonely. You just feel like you're the only person in the world going through this. But I promise you, you're not. There are other people going through similar situations. And even though you may feel like my friends are not my friends because they didn't, you know, they didn't do this when I was healing, da da da. Some people don't necessarily have the tools or know how to comfort a person that is grieving or that is healing. They don't know what to provide them with. If you are that friend that knows exactly what a person needs and are able to care for them, great for you. But I know a lot of times a lot of people are also going through their own issues, so you can't take it too personally when people aren't as available to you when you're healing. Healing can look different on anybody, but like a lot of times you'll notice when you're healing that certain people aren't just, they just fall off. You just don't click with them anymore, and like they're just not there for you. And sometimes in those healing moments, in those growth moments, you learn who's actually not really there for you, who's not your friend anymore. You'll learn who's actually like, yeah, this is my homie. Like, and I definitely picked up on that when I was healing recently when I was going through some issues. But again, it can still feel lonely even if people are trying to help you, because I think you just want to be in your lonesome, in your isolation, because I don't know about how everybody again heals differently. Me personally, I just like, I don't know what it is about me. I just like dealing with a lot of my issues by myself, and that's something that I need to learn to be open to allowing people to help me more often. So that got kind of deep. That got kind of Last thing that I learned in the 20 years of living, the 20th thing that I learned after turning 20 is that there is always something good coming. I have been fortunate enough to just have a lot of luck lately, and good things happen to me. And I'm a strong believer in karma. When you put out good energy, you receive good energy. So just know, even if you're in a bad spot or if you're just like in a slum, that there is something good around the corner. And I know life isn't always happiness and rainbows and unicorns, but we do get these good moments in our life, and even if they're brief, I relish in those moments, because I feel like those are the moments that keep me going. If there was no happiness, if there was no goodness on this earth, what would be the purpose of it to me? A lot of good things will come your way. There's always gonna be something good around the corner. There's always the next page. You can always turn and there's another page. Like, and I don't even know what to say anymore. Just know, even if you are down right now, even if you are going through something terrible, just know there is tomorrow, there is another day, there is another page, and something good is always going to come out of life, one way or another. That pretty much concludes this video. Again, I didn't want it to be too long because I hate doing like sit down videos. Like, you're just staring at me and I'm just staring at you, or maybe you're listening to this in the car or like while you're doing chores or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the 20 things I learned after turning 20. And I do think these are a lot of lessons that a lot of people are learning now or have learned already, and a lot of experiences that people will go through. So I think in that sense that's relatable. And I hope you guys can feel some sense of correlation here, some connection here. I feel like this is like one of my very few vulnerable deep videos. I don't do a lot of vulnerability, a lot of deep, because I just feel like, I don't know, it is still like a platform of a bunch of different people, and I don't know. I want to be more vulnerable with you guys. That's why I definitely wanted to do something like this. And expect more videos similar to this or in a similar vulnerable fashion coming out, because I think I just had to get comfortable, and now I'm a little bit more comfortable that I can more open myself up. But I also am still a reserved person, and it's still like a lot of creeps and crazies out there, and I just don't want to be too vulnerable to the point where I get got. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found something profound in it. I hope it related to you, or like you enjoyed it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for watching and being supportive of my channel. I see again so many new subscribers, so many new views, so welcome if you're new, and I hope you stay, and I hope you subscribe, turn on your post notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you. See you guys next time. Bye.